Zur Algud. In the northern reaches of Sloane's the Burned region is the ancient city of Zur Algud. Built by dragons before recorded history, it is a long-standing beacon of magic, industry, and power. Legend has it that the city is built upon the battlegrounds between ancient dragons and the few remaining great worms of Sloane. So dire were the implications of the battle, the aspects of Bahamut, Tiamat, and Sardior joined the fray to turn the tides and defeat the great worms. The city was built upon and within the skeletons of these great worms, with multiple spires and towers punctuating the architecture. 3 prominent domes loom over city districts, constructed from the skulls of the vanquished great worms, serving as temples to Bahamut, Tiamat, and Sardior.
These great worms also serve as the city's and region's main export. While constructing the city, many different skeletons and remains were found, having belonged to the great worms of the past. Through trial and error, they found that their remains were capable of replacing magical components for spell work and enchanting. This region of the Burned is the only place on Sloane that contains any such deposit.
The city is populated mainly with dragons, dragonborn, and humans. Many of the dragons will live inside the city proper with their humanoid forms among the dragonborn and humans, while others prefer to live in the expansive plateau surrounding it, using their ancient magic to reform their territories to their liking, making Zur Algud its own unique biome. At first, Zur Algud was a city strictly of dragons and dragonborn, but after the alliance with and the eventual destruction of the human empire of Droz, that population was assimilated into it. This influx of population fundamentally changed the city for the better, adding new viewpoints, ideals, and skills to the community at large, bolstering the mentality of the city over the individual.
Governing the city are multiple levels of bureaucracy. Each district and people have representation at lower levels, with smaller representation moving up in power structure until there is the triumvirate. One representative from the dragons, dragonborn, and humans. At the highest level, and all the way down, there is one impartial anonymous group that represents the collective goals of the city. Sardior's Faithful. This group is incredibly important to the governing of the city and region, and their anonymity is crucial due to the purge of their sect several ages ago. That purge led to a war and cataclysm, leaving the city in a vulnerable state without impartial governance.
Worship in the ancient city is mainly reserved for the Trinity of Dragons, Bahamut, Tiamat, and Sardior. The Trinity is viewed as a coin. Bahamut and Tiamat are the two sides of that coin, and Sardior is the edge. Traditionally, Bahamut and Tiamat would be more prominent in the three, with the virtues of order and chaos, but since the cataclysm of the Fifth Age, Sardior has become more and more popular. With the great arcane and divine power of dragons, the denizens of Zur Algud see the virtues of neutrality and balance as imperatives. The tragedy of Droz is still within living memory of some of the ancient dragon knights who live within and outside of the city limits.
Along with the worship of the Trinity of Dragons, the city has a yearly festival to celebrate the things that they did. On the 3rd day of the 3rd month, Vondmit, the celebration of the children begins and lasts for 3 weeks. These 3 weeks were broken up into 3 distinct parts, 12 days each to Bahamut and Tiamat, each focusing on their virtues. Bahamut would focus on communal acts such as service projects and block parties. Tiamat would focus on individual acts of hedonism and self-empowerment. The nights for these 3 weeks would be the domain of Sardior, with secretive events and masquerades. During this celebration, the majority of the city will shut down. Outside merchants will come to the city to sell their wares, and those who remained in guard positions would rotate so as to not miss out on the festival.
Notable people and places. Yikin, Lord of the Black, male ancient black dragon, living dragon knight from the Fifth Age, defected to the side of the Arbiter Juno, and Gervis, the void dragon.
Mulrit, the Calm, female adult gold dragon, triumvirate representative of the dragons, descendant of one of the founders of the city.
Irek Ovela, a female sapphire dragonborn, priestess of Sardior, and rumored to be the leader of the secret organization, the Ruby Divide.
Me, Nikursik, male human, general of the Zur Algud military, a direct descendant of Ebu Nikursik, the Guardian.
Inquiry Athenaeum, considered to be the oldest and largest library on Sloane. It contains written texts from the beginning of recorded history. Its halls were built within the ribcage of a massive ancient great worm.
Another notable place is the Gilded Ring, a large stadium dedicated to martial and arcane sports. It is the site of the semi-annual games in which different cities send representatives to compete against each other for renown and glory.